Hi, this is Aaron Zureg from Red Letter, and today we're going to talk about updating the firmware on your Midas M32 or Behringer X32 mixer. On November 13th, Behringer released firmware version 4.0 for their M32 and X32 line of digital mixers. This new firmware comes with some big changes, most notably the brand new one-to-one routing that was not previously available on the last firmware version. Version 4.0 also comes with some major changes to the graphic user interface for the mixers and support for their upcoming release of the DP48 dual monitor mixers. Let's get started by downloading the new firmware update. So the first thing you want to do is go to the M32 downloads page on MidasConsoles.com, click on Firmware, and then press Download for version 4.0. Once the download is complete, you want to open the file. You want to store it onto a flash drive that is formatted to the FAT or FAT32 format. Then once the file is stored on the flash drive, always make sure to eject the flash drive. For today's demonstration, I'll be updating the firmware on a Midas M32R, but these instructions can apply to any M32 or X32 mixer. So we'll want to put the flash drive into the recording drive input, and then we want to go to Setup. And in the bottom left, we'll see we have the option to update the firmware. Then I can see that the firmware update is listed that was released on November 13th of this year. I want to select, and it'll ask if I want to update the firmware, and I'll confirm yes. And then it'll go through a process of checking the update, and this will take about 1 minute to 2 minutes. The mixer will go through a reboot process. Once the update is complete, you'll be greeted by a brand new graphic user interface with all of the old features as well as some of the new features that have been included with the update. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the one-to-one routing feature I mentioned earlier. So we'll notice that we have for our inputs the same 1 through 32 channels of blocks that we can assign. But with the new update, we actually have a new category down here at the bottom of the list called User In. So if we select User In 1 through 8, 9 through 16, and so on, this setup will allow us to do the one-to-one routing. So once we've selected our User In 1 through 32, we'll tab all the way over to the very last tab on the page, which is the new User tab. And from here, we can see that we can select inputs and outputs on a one-to-one basis. So we have all of our channels here, 1 through 32. And then this fourth encoder allows us to select which input, whether it's a local in or our connected DL32 unit, which is connected to our AES50 input. And we can go through and select whatever channels and inputs that we want and assign them to each channel. For example, I can assign the first few channels as AES50 inputs, but then the next few channels I can go up and assign local inputs. And this gives us a lot more flexibility than we had with the previous version. We can actually see along the first 5 channels on this channel strip the inputs that I've already selected, but you'll notice that in the subsequent channels they're indicated as off, which means that there are no inputs currently being routed to these channels on the mixer. So once I go to channel 6, for example, and assign it, we'll say local in 8, we can actually see that input 8 is now indicated on that channel. So this is a really powerful feature that was not previously available on that last firmware version. If you have any questions about how to update the firmware on your Midas M32 mixer or any other digital mixer, give us a call or visit our website at redletter.net for more information. Thanks for watching.